Greetings all, this is Hairy Nick.
And this is a less hairy Justin.
We got a bit more information on Epic in the game of X-Wing.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the rules in this particular video, but we have had spoiled the rest of the stuff. We'll take a look at that in another video, but for the time being, let's have a look at these rules and just see what's going on with this. Just clarifying the last few bits of information that we didn't quite know about just yet based on the articles that we got.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So we got an update to both the rules reference and, well, the Epic rules reference is a new document entirely. So we're just going to scroll through this and have a look at some interesting points. Right here, you can see this under both agility and primary attack value. There is a maximum of 6 dice.
Yeah, well, I suppose that makes sense.
No, you can't do your big Death Star combos anymore. I don't know off the top of my head if there was any combo that allowed for 6 or more dice. Generally, whenever that kind of stuff happens, yeah, it's cool, but it's generally quite janky, so people don't bother with it anyway.
Yeah. I suppose you might have been able to do something with like proton torpedoes and
Jan ores or something like that. Look, whatever, if you could do 7 or 8 dice. I think in first edition there was like a Fenrir combo with advanced proton torpedoes. Who cares? Whatever, can't do it. Seems fair, and I think the main reason they're looking at this now is because we actually have, specifically with agility, bigger dice pools when firing beyond range 3, which is something you can do in Epic. Okay, we've got a bit more information here on shields. Now, shields now count as charges, which makes sense. They have the same clause where they recharge if you have the little carrot icon as the Epic ships do.
Yeah, and also that they flip over, which most charges, well, actually all charges do.
They pretty much act in that same way. And also, if there's any card on the ship that adds to the shield pool, it works just like other charges. You don't put charges on that card. Well, you do with charges, but like not with energy, force, or shield. So it just makes sense just putting it within that family. Also, at the bottom of the document, there's some information on Epic specifically. Just to remind everyone, in case the articles didn't make it 100% clear, Epic ships can take as many bonus attacks as they like. So if you have cards like this that has like 1,000 bonus attacks on it, yeah, you can do all of them.
It's as long as you've got the charges to use it, you can...
whatever you need. Yeah. Some Epic ships do have gunners, so the gunner cards allow you to take bonus attacks, especially things like veteran turret gunner and that kind of thing, in combination with some hard points.
I didn't think about that.
So if you miss an attack, you get your bonus attack plus all the other bonus attacks you want. So if you have something like veteran turret gunner and a card like the battery thing that lets you take 1,000, it's up on the screen here for you guys to see. You only need to miss one of those attacks, and then you get a whole other attack with anything. It could be a turbo laser.
I like it.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Epic ships doing dumb things. And as we stated before, yes, if you're defending beyond range 3, you get another additional green dice. So range 4 to 5, you get 2. Yeah. Which is good. Again, we're capping our defense pools to 6. So, for example, if you were defending through a rock at range 5 with 3 agility, you'd be getting 6 dice. I'm sure there are other things.
Is there anything else that gives you
defense dice? Well, there are things on pilot cards and upgrade cards that can do that kind of stuff. It doesn't cap the rerolls though, so if you're flying a list that is likely to have that maximum amount of 6 agility, think about cards like Serazu, which allow you to reroll your green dice. Suddenly those become a lot more valuable. You're basically always going to have something to reroll in those instances. And mathematically speaking, it's almost like having another dice. So keep that in mind. Looking at Ion, just quickly, they need 6 charges to be ionized. That's Epic ships.
That's huge. I mean, it makes sense. They
are literally huge. Yeah. That is it. It makes sense. They're twice the size of a big ship, I suppose, functionally within the game, so 6 makes sense. Also, they're very easy to hit. You do have to remember that. Even big ships have like boosts and barrel rolls. These things are not going to be able to dodge your weaponry, so I think 6 is right. Also, it means you know where the huge ship's going to be flying the next turn. That means they can't ram your ships. And that's
going to be very big.
We're going to talk about that in a second because there's all the rules relating to that. Okay, so as a ship moves over an asteroid or debris, it suffers a critical damage. and as it moves over a gas cloud, it suffers a jam.
Yeah. Now, it also gains 1 stress token on top of the
Oh,
critical
yes, of
if
course.
it
Well
goes
spotted.
over an asteroid or debris.
Yes, which makes sense. So huge ships also interact with stress tokens a bit differently, so it's arguably better or worse depending on how you look at it. Getting the jam token off the gas cloud, yeah, they have a decent action economy. Like, yeah, you look at critical damage and go, oh, that's really bad, but also they don't interact with half of the face-up damage card if they get critical damage through anything that's not an attack.
Yeah.
There's that extra clause that if the ship was attacking in a certain arc, you get those negative effects. So that's good. It means you're not taking weapons offline, all that kind of stuff. So they've got so much health as well. So critical damage. Yeah. Also, they recharge their shields. So this looks like it's straight up worse than a small, medium, or large base ship going over them. But actually, I think it makes it pretty even.
Yeah, realistically, you're going to lose 1 shield for a turn and lose 1
energy.
one energy. Yeah,
energy charge. Yeah, well, energy is a charge.
Yeah.
Oh boy, this is going to get confusing. Okay, and we're talking about the overlapping of huge ships. So this was the most interesting part of it. So if a huge ship overlaps another huge ship, it doesn't just execute as much of the maneuver and touch the ship like your standard ships do. It actually dials back the speed of the maneuver by 1. And if it clears, you place it there. Or it goes all the way back to 0. And there's no way that 0 will ever make you bump into another huge ship, because there's no way for them to be in base contact.
Yeah.
Basically. I mean, I suppose you could theoretically complete a maneuver into base contact. That technically can happen. But
it's very hard.
It's very hard.
It's not going to happen realistically.
No, not realistically. Also, the huge ship that you bumped into, and I believe the ship that you're using as well, they suffer critical damage equal to the speed that the ship executed. If they ram into another huge ship at speed 3, they both suffer 3 criticals, which could be advantageous for you. Like maybe that you just have way more health than your opponent's ship. It's a pretty good trade.
It's a good way to sink in a little bit more damage.
Absolutely. Also, that is true of standard ships. So you can just use a 3-speed ram into a TIE swarm and eviscerate them.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's going to hurt.
But to be fair, in first edition, they just removed any standard ship. Big or small. Medium ships didn't exist, obviously. They went.
Well, I suppose that's true, isn't it?
Which did some silly stuff. Now, here's the interesting thing. Overlapping standard ships, as I said, they no longer just get destroyed. As we said, they suffer critical damage equal to the speed of the maneuver the epic ship activated with. But what happens is the ships are then picked up off the table, if they're not destroyed, obviously. And you then complete the maneuver with the epic ship. So nothing is going to stop an epic ship. Absolutely. Like, obstacles, it just goes over them. And other ships, apart from other epic ships, are just going to move out of the way. Then they're placed in the rear half of the... I'm reading this very carefully. Not touching, or range 0 to 1, so it could be touching. And each player who owns these ships, one by one, places their ships down. Starting with the first player, players take turns in placing any of their standard ships into that bubble, and then they pick an opponent who can then rotate it 9 degrees left or right. In a 2-player game, that would just be the owner of the epic ship.
But with Epic, we do have up to 8 players now.
Yes, we do.
So
that's true.
We could have 3-player games where you choose another enemy and they might want to have you.
That's true.
Their arcs.
There could be some politicking going on in this, which would be interesting.
It's Commander in X-Wing.
Commander in X-Wing, that's right. That's kind of cool. So basically, you're not just losing your ships outright, but boy, they can be put in a bad situation.
Yeah.
You could just point them off the board with that 90-degree turn. So you, the player who's placing your ship on the table, have to be very conscious. You have to make sure it's placed in such a way that rotating it 90 degrees left or right isn't just going to destroy it, and preferably not put it in a bad position either.
Yeah.
But it's a huge cost getting run over by huge ships. But conversely, if you're using your standard ships and you run into a huge ship, you just bump into it. It's only when the huge ship itself rams into the standard ships. That's it. You got it? Okay, cool. That's going to be one of the funnest parts of Epic, I think.
Yeah.
Also, huge ships just obstruct attacks like rocks. They don't need any upgrades. They just do it full stop. And just at the bottom of the page here, we have effects that can move or rotate, like executing a boost or barrel roll, cloaking or slamming, just don't work.
I'm okay with that.
There's a small amount of cards that could theoretically give huge ships the ability to do this if this rule wasn't in place, like Cad Bane on the Scum faction. You can do a boost Archdropper Bomb. If you try to do it, nothing happens. There are things that make you incidentally do these maneuvers. Afterburners is only for small ships, but they might want to design more kind of stuff. And Cad Bane is the one I can think of right now. Interestingly enough, it just says it does not rotate at base. It does not. If an effect would ask you to do it. Okay, all of that means is you can do it. You're just getting a stress token. Just be so maybe you want to. I don't know. That's
maybe if you wanted to stress for no reason.
I suppose
there you go.
That's weird, but you can. Also, on the subject of red maneuvers, so stress tokens actually just take away energy. If your ship gets stressed out, you remove energy instead. If you have no energy, then you get a stress token. And if you already have a stress token and no energy, you then have to be forced to do the true straight like any other ship. So it actually just taxes the energy economy, which I quite like how that interplays with the weaponry and the maneuvers.
Yeah, so basically make sure that you've always got at least one spare energy.
That's
I
right.
mean, they normally come back at the end of turn, or start of turn.
By one or two.
Yeah.
That's right. Look, people who play Sonic the Hedgehog know this. Always make sure you have one ring, and then you're fine. You're fine. Nothing bad can happen to Sonic then.
That's a good way of putting it.
That's right. Yes, just recapping everything that's happening with stress there. Okay, this is the interesting thing. So if we scroll down to the bottom of the page here, oops, I lost it. There it is. Basically, for every weapon you have, and there's 2 pegs that can take turret indicators, you assign a turret indicator. Now, best we can tell, it looks like you're only allowed to have 2 turret weapons.
There you go. A huge ship can have up to 2 turret arc indicators. But
it doesn't mean you can't equip more and just not use them. I mean, I don't know why you would, but yeah, that's the deal. So if there's anything with 2 hard points and a turret...
Can the Raider do it?
I don't think there is right now. The Raider has 2 hard points, so does the Corvette. The Sea Rock has a hard point and a turret, and I think so does the Transport. So I don't think there's physically anything that can take 3 turrets. If there is, don't bother. It's not going to work. And then you have like these little black and white indicators which you then put on the cards, and those specifically relate back to those indicators. But interestingly, you measure your attacks from the center of the ship, no matter which one you're using it. You don't actually measure from the indicator, which is cool, I suppose.
Yeah, means that, if you're overshooting, you've got a bit more...
That's right. Like,
go from, or if you're...
It's not like you overshoot and then suddenly like that forward turret can't quite get the shot back or whatever. It's the best place to measure attacks from because you get that entire massive front and rear arc everywhere. That's fantastic. So that's cool. Also, if you do the rotate turret action, as it says up here, you can do one or both of them.
Yeah, which is going to be very handy. It means that you're not taxing yourself.
In the rules, you can't do the same action twice anyway. I thought they may have made an exception here, but this just seems like a cleaner way of doing it. Plus, epic ships are more powerful. This is just... goes part and parcel with all this kind of stuff epic ships are doing. Okay, we also have this document here, which mainly pertains to multiplayer games, which we're not going to go through all that kind of stuff right now. We're mainly interested in the rules interactions. First of all, command upgrades. There is a command upgrade slot on every single ship. Huge, medium, small, large. That's the other one. So you can put your wings onto any small ship. If there is a command card that can go onto... I don't believe there's any crew command that can go onto large base ships yet.
I don't think so.
Look, if there is one, they'll be up on the screen right here for you to see. I'll check those in post. That makes the most sense, I suppose. I theorised before that it might just be on pilots with talents, like they can be wing leaders, but it looks like anything can be a wing leader, which is...
handy.
Yeah, you can just have 6 Academy pilots in a wing if you really want to do that kind of stuff. These are all options. Okay, speaking of wings, we have some information here. So, We were curious about how things stay in formation and when you can split them and how they're split. There are certain effects in the game that forces you to split them. I'm not quite sure what those are just yet. But if you have a look at the top right here of the screen, you can see you can voluntarily split off a ship at the end of a turn. To do that, if you have a look at the wing cards at the bottom left here, you shift it downwards. So it's still part of that wing and can rejoin, but it's not in the formation currently.
Yeah.
To rejoin it, again, we're looking at the end phase. Yes.
Yeah.
If you're within range 0 to 1 of the leader, you can flip it up and then put it back into that spot.
Yeah, you also can't be stressed, ionized, tracted, or cloaked.
Yes, which makes sense because that'd be really annoying if you were ionized and you go, oh, the back of my wing.
Yeah.
No downside.
No.
That would be stupid. Yes, curious to see whether ionization and stuff like that actually pulls you off the wing, but don't seem to have that information here for whatever reason.
I don't think so, because when you attack a wing, you're damaging the leader.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it's going to be frustrating.
Yeah.
Going back to the planning phase, during the planning phase, only the wing leader is assigned a maneuver dial. Makes sense. And then basically what happens is it does its entire activation, boost, barrel roll, whatever, and then the rest of the wing is placed behind it.
So this means that with either Vader or any other X1, you can be doing boosts or barrel rolls or other crazy shenanigans.
That's right. If you're using TIE Interceptors, you can do both. Place everything next to it. So like all your TIE lens can essentially get all the benefits of that kind of stuff. And then if like Vader needs to boost a barrel roll to stay away from a rock, it's really, really handy.
Yeah.
It's very, very handy because it means the entire wing can avoid landing on a rock or something like that. Also, interestingly, if a wing leader performs a slam or a cloak and the other ships in its wing does not have those actions, they just break immediately. Which makes perfect sense because for boost and barrel roll, it's only a small movement, so I suppose we can get away with it, but you can't just like take a siege to Ketu on the Rebellion and just like slam an entire squadron of A-Wings alongside it.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of dumb.
It'd be awesome though. Imagine seeing that. But
Yeah.
we can't.
Or whisper alongside a bunch of TIE fighters.
Yeah. So now...
No.
Now it means that Whisper has to be with other Phantoms.
Which is still pretty good, to be honest. Considering the points we have to spare in Epic, I actually think a wing of Phantoms could be quite cool.
That'd actually be terrifying.
And the fact that you can cloak and decloak your entire wing.
Yeah.
Oh, that seems pretty good. That seems pretty good. Reliving the days of Rebel Assault 2 sounds like a lot of fun. Yep, that's it. I think if we scroll down through the errata, yep, there's some cool stuff. Yeah, whatever. It's basically pertaining to multiplayer, as we said, so absolutely go to FFG's website and take a look at these for yourself. But that pretty much clears up all the stuff that we were wondering about with Epic, especially when it comes to the more competitive one-on-one style games, which I think me and Justin are most interested in.
Yeah, I'm also interested in like some 3-player games as well.
Oh, for sure.
That's going to be good.
Like, we got to try a big dumb 8-player game at some stage.
Yeah.
Got to set aside like half a day, but we'll do it at some stage. It'll be good fun. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. Yeah, I'm going to go through all the stuff that was spoiled on Reddit at some other video, at some other point. For the time being, do not forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and all that good stuff that helps us with the YouTube algorithm. We also have a Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit account, so you can go and follow us on those. Also, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon. Pretty much, the biggest thing monetarily pushing us forward at this stage. Everyone that has already done so is friggin' awesome. I love, love, love all of you, and we'll catch you all in the next video.
Bye.